So when I first started cycling, I used to be called a paper bag because every time I would get dropped on a flat, I would fall off the back like a paper bag. And I could always I always struggled trying to maintain the power on the flat. And anytime the intensity went up on the flat and there was a gust of wind, it would just push me back. And I didn't have the power and the strength of my legs to be able to bridge that gap if the if this happened. So having realized this wasn't very good, even though personally speaking, I was an okay cyclist. I was pretty good at climbing, but even though I was light, I didn't have the strength of my legs to maintain the power on the flat. And especially when I moved to London, growing up in Devon, I was used to the climbs, but being in London, a bit more intensity on the flat, so a lot more challenging. So having realized this, I realized I needed to really focus on what I was doing to build more strength on the flat. So riding with my group and my mates on the flat was helpful, but what I was understanding is that I needed to push a bigger gear for longer, get more comfortable holding a bigger gear, sitting in a big chain ring for a longer period of time, rather than spinning my legs, which I was used to, especially when I was climbing. So what I started to do is go out on my own, and I would only ride in the big chain ring for the whole ride. And that even included climbing out of the saddle because I had to, because I was in the big chain ring. I might have to drop down on occasions, depending on the climb, but I tried to pick a route that was comfortable enough that I could stay in the big chain ring, but still challenging. And on top of this, I added in the strength training, started doing that at least once or twice a week, especially during the winter at the time. And over a period of a few months, I certainly really noticed that I was improving my abilities to stay with the group on the flat and also bridge that gap. If I was dropped at any point, I could always make up that gap and then also sit on the front and pull my mates along as well as them helping me along. So by doing some deliberately overloading on my legs and focusing on my weaknesses, that helped me become a better all-round cyclist. So I feel more confident, sitting on the front, helping others out, bridging the gap if I needed to. And during that time, when I first started riding, when I was doing Ironmans, my average speed for 100 miles was about 15 miles an hour. And I've done Ride London the last few years, or before it got cancelled. And now my average speed for Ride London was about 22 miles an hour for 100 miles. Just with that consistent amount of training, that consistent amount of overload, focusing on my weaknesses, my cycling has improved. My riding on the climbs just improved with the amount of training I was doing as well. So my advice, if you do struggle with climbing or on the flat like I did and wear a paper bag like me, or might still be, I am on occasions, depending on how bad the wind is, but focus on your weaknesses first, and then your strengths will benefit from that as well. And you become a more all-round cyclist and not get dropped like I did. So if you found this helpful, let me know in the comments below. And if you've got any questions, let me know as well. And don't be afraid to follow as well if you find this useful.